Well, good morning. My name is Emmanuel Peterson. I'm your anchor for today. And I just want to welcome everyone on this very extremely cold and load shedding filled Saturday morning. And of course, we are here for the Men Supporting Men support group sponsored by Hollard, Daredevil Run, and of course, the Cancer Association of South Africa. Now, I know it's very cold, and I know there's a couple of people that registered for this morning, and it's nice to see some familiar faces. Feel free to start your cameras if you want to. We are recording today's session because it is open to men as well as women. Now, normally this is very much a men's support group, and the reason why we started this was to put like-minded people in the same room together. Even though we can't be in a physical room, we are obviously all scattered all over the country, and one or two people actually registered from overseas as well. So we've got international reach, but the whole aim of this group is to be with like-minded people. Now, once in a while, we open it up to families as well, because we do find it very, very important that the right questions gets answered, and learning from each other. We can learn from each other's journeys, and I think that is one of the incredible things about the support group. If you have a question during the talks, you can direct them to the chat box, and we will actually open up for questions and answers, because we are a small group this morning towards or right after our guest speaker. Now, with no further ado, I'm actually gonna introduce our guest speaker today, Andreas Kleinhans. Now, anyone that's been on this support group before would have seen from the word go, Andreas was one of our guests, and he's always got quite an interesting journey to discuss. And what makes him incredibly special is the fact that he really he's always positive. No matter what he goes through. And Andreas is just one of those people that you want to know and you want to hear from. So we actually took the opportunity to ask him to join us as a guest speaker today to talk about his journey and also share tips that's helped him. Now, Andreas was born and grew up in Pretoria. He studied BSc Theology and is a business and life coach. His current jobs, and there's quite a couple, so excuse me, I'm going to read this. I don't want to mess it up, Andreas, and you can unmute yourself so long if you want to interrupt. But he's the Minister of Religion at the Presbyterian Church, professional business and life coach. He's assistant operations manager at Bakwena Day Spa, and then he's also a wine merchant. He's got 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, and he's also a grandfather. So, Andreas, let's start with you. Thank you for joining, number one. We really appreciate you being here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then you can go into your talk. We are listening with eager ears.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here today again, and yeah, to share my journey a little bit. I've been very fortunate my whole life to be very healthy. So that's when my journey started with the cancer. That was quite a shock to me because for so many years, I enjoyed good health since I was a child. I didn't even have child sicknesses or any of those diseases, and I never got even flu, and I lived a healthy life. Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of different things. I think that just came to be, it's part of the COVID that kicked in, because I was fully business and life coach and focused more on that. But since COVID came, I was working for a hotel group, the Orion Group of Hotels. So I was the internal business coach. And then all the training and coaching was stopped in the hotels. And I couldn't work anymore. So that's when I started the wine selling. And the church I've been part of the church for a very long time, but then I left, and then last year, March, I actually came back again. So I think maybe I must just start with how it came to be. So I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in March 2021. That was last year. So that was quite a shock to me, as I said, because I was so healthy and I was living a healthy lifestyle, exercising, yoga. Uh, yeah, I was at a good place concerning my health, regarding my health. And then when I was diagnosed with the prostate cancer, it was quite a shock. And I remember when I was diagnosed, I couldn't actually tell anyone for a few days because I had to make it out in my mind what is actually going on. I think what was more terrified to me was the treatments. So the doctor gave me a booklet that he said I must go and read, which he gave me two. The one was about cancer and the different stages. And he said I mustn't worry too much because mine is grade 1, slow growing. So it's not something to worry too much about, but the books will tell me all the stages, and it's not nice always to see that. But he wanted me to be familiar with it. So I did that. But what's more terrified was the treatments. So he gave me a whole book of treatments, and yeah, it was terrifying because all of those treatments had lists and lists of side effects. And that was more terrified than the cancer itself because sometimes it works like that with the cancer, that the treatments are helping you, but it's also making you sick with all the side effects. So that was quite terrifying to me. And another thing I started to realize as I was telling people that the cancer was taking over my whole life, not only my body, there were these cells that's fighting my healthy cells and yeah, turning them into bad cells, if I can say so. But all my communication with people and every telephone call was about my cancer. Of course, the people wanted to know how I am and how I'm doing and yeah, where I am. So, but I felt it was taking over my life because every conversation, even if it was a work conversation, was about my cancer. So even when I go to sleep at night, you think about it. When you wake up, you think about it. Yeah, so that was quite hectic. But then, yeah, we decided on the brachytherapy. Brachytherapy was one of the therapies that only had 3 side effects. And the doctor said, well, that's the best one for my type of cancer. And I agreed. So I was happy. But the first stage that we had to do, they call it active surveillance. So we just wait for a few months and they just monitor everything. So in September last year, I had to go for an MRI scan. So the MRI scan, they was looking at all the organs around the prostate. So the rectum and the seed tubes and the bladder and the kidneys, just to see if there was not any spread from the cancer. But yeah, that was okay. So we were very happy. But then we tested my PSA at the same time. So my PSA was already 16 in January last year, which was 4 times it should be for a man of my age. And that's why we did the biopsy, and that's when we found the cancer, because a high PSA is always the first indication that there might be cancer. So then we tested it in September, and the results came back 47, which was, like the doctor said, way off the charts. And he said he's very concerned there's something wrong here. So he said the first thing, it could be infections that caused the high PSA count. And we tested for all infections, but there was nothing. So he put me on medicine, antibiotics for the prostate itself. He said it might be inflammation. And then he said the third thing we have to do bone scans. So which I did, and then he phoned me back the next week, and he said they found cancer cells on my hip bone, my left hip bone. But I had to go for another scan, a PET scan, because I wanted to see if it's a different cancer or if it's the prostate cancer that moved to the bone. So which I did, and then I remember on the 7th of October, I was sitting in front of him, and he said, well, it's very bad news because the cancer on my bone is the prostate cancer that moved. So now it was not a grade 1 cancer anymore, but it was a grade 4 cancer. It is, he says, a very dangerous cancer. They can't cure it. Like he said to me, we can slow it down and we can manage it, try to manage it, and we can manage the pain, but we can't heal it. So that was quite something different. The first diagnosis, where it's a grade 1 cancer and there's a solution, and that was already a shock to me, but this was totally different. I couldn't understand what he was telling me. So I know he said to me now, no, we can't heal this cancer, and it's a dangerous cancer, and it's a grade 4. And for a few days, that was playing in my mind, and I thought, but what is he actually telling me? Does it mean? I can't understand what he's telling me. So it was like at the third or the fourth day, then I realized what he actually was saying to me: my life is in danger. So that was quite something to handle. I think that was when fear came into my mind and into my heart, because it was so, I couldn't make something of it because I don't feel sick and I don't look sick. But now he says, this is threatening my life. So he says we're going to on a 3 or triple treatment plan, which hormone therapy will be the first one I had to do. And then we will still do the brachytherapy. And then we will do external radiation on the prostate as well as on the bone. So now all of those treatments that I was so frightened of, I was almost doing all of them, 3 of them. So that was also something, to think about. So we started with hormone therapy, and I remember I asked him, do I have to go on this hormone therapy right now? And he was saying to me, I prefer you do, because you're actually in a fight for survival. You actually will fight for your life for the next 3 years. So that is quite a blow. And it's something that you need to get used to and get your mind around to say, okay, but what am I going to do with it? Because my life is in danger and I'm not promised a tomorrow. So I really started to think, okay, I must think in a certain way about this, because I realized how I will think about this will impact how I will experience it and what will happen to me. So I immediately decided that, well, I must make the choice to make something good out of this, because I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live my life in fear and maybe in a year or two I die, but then I lived in fear until my death. And that's not what I want to do. So I decided I will live every day. I will focus on every day and I will make the most of every day. And that's enough. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I'm planning for tomorrow. I do have a lot of plans. But every day is enough, because I need to live today. And I think that taught me to be in the moment. I always have been focusing on that, but this was now real. This was now, I don't know about tomorrow or next week, or they might not be getting old for me. So I need to live now. I need to make the most, and I will focus on that. And that's when I started to realize, but what can I do with a grade 4 cancer? How do you make something positive out of that? But that's when I started to write down my story. And I decided, well, one thing I can do is to work through this and to tell my story to people, to help them maybe on their journey, and just to inspire them. To say, sometimes life deals us a lot of things, but you will find the inner strength to do that. And that's where I found my strength. So on the days when I couldn't cope with what was happening and cope with the thoughts that was going through my head, I just became quiet. It was in stillness that I found my strength. I just got quiet and I sat. So I do meditation since 2014. And so I was very trained in just switching off my mind. And that helped me a lot, to just be in the stillness for a while. And when I came back, I had a lot of positive energy again, and I had hope in my heart to go on. So I did that a lot. Another thing I started doing, well, I've been doing this also since 2014. I do gratitude in the morning. So every day of my life, I write 10 things down in the morning that I am grateful for. And then I say in a prayer, I say thank you for these 10 things. So that helped me to be grateful, because you can't be grateful and full of fear or negative at the same time. So the gratefulness and that practice I have every morning helped me a lot. That gave me a lot of strength. And people asked me the other day, but what can you be thankful for? If you have a grade 4 cancer that is threatening your life, what is there to be grateful about? And I said, well, first of all, I realized I have some of the best doctors that I am with, and I do have. All of them, the urologist, the oncologist, I think I have some of the best. The hospitals I'm at is some of the best, I think. I think it's the best in the world, some of them. And I've been to a few the past 2 years. I've been to Rosebank Clinic and Linksfield, Donald Gordon, and then Olivedale lately. And I must say they're all very good. I never had any problem. I never sat in queues when I go for an appointment. When I was due 9 o'clock, I went in 9 o'clock. The doctors, the facilities, the staff, the medicine and the technology that we used was so incredible. So you have to be thankful for that. Another thing that I started to realize and that I'm very thankful for is that the amount of support I started to get from people, well, my family, friends, but even people I haven't spoken in years, even people I went to school with, suddenly contacted me, and everybody was say they pray for me and they think of me, and I almost want to say on a daily basis, people tell me they love me. That never happened before necessarily when I spoke to people. But on a daily basis, and it's old, young men, women, they all tell me they love me. And that makes me strong. That gives me more courage to walk this road. So yeah, that was we did the brachytherapy then in January this year. And I must say I was very lucky, and that was another thing I was grateful for. I was on 2 treatments then already with very little side effects. I didn't have the side effects that they were saying I should have. I had some of them, but very mild. But then in March this year, it actually started in 2018. I started to have trouble swallowing some certain foods. And when I was at my house doctor January this year, I told her about it, and she said, no, I must see a specialist. So he gave me a name at Donald Gordon Hospital. So I made the appointment in January, but he could only see me in March this year, 2022. And so I went, and he looked at me and he said, well, it could either be a restriction or a narrowing of the esophagus. So he sent me for x-rays, and then he came back and he said it was a narrowing. I had to come back the 25th of March, and then they're going to put the camera in, and then they will stretch it at the same time. So I went in, and I was put under sedation, and I woke up, and I was waiting for the doctor, and he eventually came, and I sat in front of him, and when I looked at the doctor, I thought, he doesn't look well. And I'm the patient, but he didn't look well. And I wonder, what was this about? And then he told me he couldn't stretch the esophagus. And I asked him why. He said, because you've got a cancer tumor at the bottom of your esophagus, which already grew so large that most of your esophagus is being blocked. And that's why because I couldn't eat, it worsened the end of last year. It happened almost every meal. And since February this year, I really had trouble. I ate food and it couldn't go down. I had to spit it out again, couldn't go down. And now you're telling me that it was a cancer tumor, and it's not related to my prostate cancer that moved to the bone. It's a different cancer. And he said to me, this is even more dangerous than the one I already had, because this one can spread very easily. And because of the where it is placed, the spread will be to my vital organs. It can spread any day to my lungs or to my aorta or to any place. So I couldn't believe what I was hearing, because this was now the 3rd time in 1 year that I got to receive this news. So I went through all the stages. When you get this news, there's certain stages of trauma you go through. So on my way home that day, where it usually took me a week or so to go through all the stages, I went through all the stages. By the time I got home, I've been through all of them. And once again, I was faced with another cancer, because now I have two grade 4 cancers, because a week later they did scans, and then we found that it already made a metastasis to my liver. So now I was sitting with two grade 4 cancers in 4 different places. And once again, he told me that we don't have any guarantees. And they said so 3 weeks ago as well. Both of them, the doctor that diagnosed the esophagus cancer, as well as the oncologist, he says he's not going to lie to me. The recovery rate and the survival rate for this type of cancer is not great. I see even the things we're going to do, we said we will do radiation on the esophagus as well as chemo. And he said there's no promises, there's no guarantees it will work. So yeah, that was quite different as well. But now I was so used to this news, I just thought, well, it's just another thing, and I have to live with it. And once again, I also started to think again, not to focus on tomorrow or the day after that, and when the cancer will move and what will happen. I decided just to live every day. My focus is today. What can I do today to make a difference? Not in my life necessarily, but in other people's lives. Because I believe that's my calling, that I need to inspire people. And now like I said to somebody the other day, I received new tools. I always inspire people, but this is a different level. And I believe this came on my path, so I can go through it and I can inspire people. So I did the radiation on my prostate and bone. I had to do 25 sessions on each, 25 sessions. Once again, I had little side effects. The main side effect that I had was fatigue. I'm very tired. So, but not during the day, but from 3 o'clock in the afternoons. So sometimes by 4 o'clock, I can't sit upright anymore. I have to lie down, and in evenings as well. But I was fortunate. I could go on with my work during the day, and that was the only side effect. I didn't have any burn marks or anything that other people are complaining about. So then we also started with the esophagus and the radiation on that. And it went actually very well. I finished last week, Tuesday. I had to do 30 sessions. So I'm done. And the great news of this is that the radiation shrinked the tumor. I couldn't eat for 2 months, which was quite a challenge on its own. I didn't ever could believe that how hard that will be not to eat, and how many times a day we actually eat without thinking. Because I was struggling, and that brought my energy levels down. So I lost 8 kilograms in like a month's time. Because now, when you are on radiation, they gave you a booklet with your diet. You have to eat certain foods to help you and to give you energy. And I couldn't eat. I could only take supplements and do soups and shakes. But I still lost all these kilograms. So that was quite hard. But I'm so pleased that I can eat everything now again. I still have to eat slow and chew it very fine, but I can eat. I started eating meat last week as well, and lasagnas again, and pizza. I ate pizza Sunday for the first time. So I'm very happy, because it means that the tumor shrank. So it means that the cancer cells is dying. So next week I have to go for an MRI scan for the liver, because we didn't treat the liver yet. So he wants to measure the tumor, and then I'm going on chemo. And a combo chemo, it will be tablets, pills I need to take, as well as a drip that I will go once or twice a week. And he said he just want to measure it, and then he will measure it again just to see if there's any change, because he doesn't want to keep me on the chemo and it's not doing anything to the tumor. Yeah, and then after that, we will decide if there is any operations needed, because that's the last thing we have to do, is maybe to cut out the tumor in my esophagus, which is quite a big operation, and it's quite a risky operation. A certain percentage of people don't even live through the operation. So they just don't want to do it because it's very risky. So yeah, so the other good news I need to share as well is that when we tested my PSA 3 weeks back, it was 0.2, which was so perfect. And then the urologist said, well, it means that all the treatments we are doing, and I'm still on hormone therapy, but I finished the radiation and I finished the brachytherapy. Well, the brachytherapy, the seeds will be active till about September. It's internal radiation from inside. But it means it already worked. Because with a PSA like that, it means that the cancer cells died. And the oncologist then also confirmed it, that my prostate cancer, which is uncurable, is now in remission. It's still uncurable, but we don't have to worry it for the moment. It's in remission and can be in remission for 10 years, they say. So I'm very, very happy and fortunate.
Andreas, I just want to say you are a true inspiration, and thank you for sharing your journey today with us. We are unfortunately quite limited on time because it's a Saturday
That's
morning
good.
of things. So I want to move over to questions and answers. Before I do that, though, I'm actually gonna just make that people can unmute themselves. Allow participants to unmute themselves. Yeah, and I want to introduce our a couple of our steering committee members that are here today and that's worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Before I go to a question to you, David Lucas is also my co-anchor. He's here. Bobby Weir was here this morning, but he did warn me in advance that he's always got problems with internet. So he was here, and then of course CANSA support. That's always behind the scenes, just making sure that we you ask the right questions and give the right information as well. Andreas, moving over to questions and answers. Families, you are a father and a grandfather. How difficult was it for you to actually tell your kids? Was it a difficult process? What advice can you give to people out there that are going through what you're going through, but they don't know how to tell their families?
Yeah, I did struggle with the first diagnosis. I couldn't talk about it for 3 days, I think. It was only after that, then I told my kids and my near family, my immediate family. But it was very hard. But I think they're the greatest support. So the quicker you can share this with them, I think the quicker, the better it is for you and for them. And they can walk the journey with them. And they really do. I remember when I was diagnosed, or they told me that the cancer spread to my bone, and it was a grade 4 cancer and was threatening my life. I came back at home, and my son was already from school because he's living with me. And he asked me, what did the doctor say? And I couldn't speak. I just started crying. And he came to me and he put his arms around me and he said, what does the doctor say? I say, the doctor say, I'm not okay. He says, I'm very sick. And he just hugged me and said, it will be okay. And I felt better. So the support of the family is very important. So I'm fortunate, to have my children, and I've got good open relationship with them. So it wasn't too difficult to tell them, but it took me a while because I had to make it out in my mind what it was about.
Right. Okay. One of the things that Andreas mentioned that morning, good morning to you all. And yes, I am
Morning.
a proud cancer survivor. I'm saying proud because I can share with other people my journey like Andreas did. And hopefully we will, through our talk, our discussion, save one man's life because he'll go for early detection. But I want to say to you guys that one of the things that Andreas mentioned was his doctor gave him a brochure of what is the side effects, etc., etc. Please do not forget that for every single cancer imaginable, CANSA has brochures that you can read, you can go through it, and you have any other questions with regards to it, you can then go onto the website, info@cancer.org.za, and also phone CANSA. There are more and more things that you need to know. I think the point that Andreas made for me so very clear is the fact that knowledge takes half away of the problems. Knowledge will impact upon you so that you are positive about your journey. And yes, as he said, to know what you expect. And when if it doesn't happen with Andreas's case, in so many cases that he had, then wow, you were prepared for it, you were prepared for the worst, but now you can fight it. And that's mine for this morning.
Thank you, David. You're always so insightful. Now, David is a proud cancer survivor, and he's also, whenever you talk to him, he really promotes early detection, which I think is so very important. So, David, thank you for everything you do. I really appreciate you being here. I know that a lot of people are battling this morning with the load shedding and then also the cold as well, cold front. But do we have any questions, further questions for Andreas? Feel free to put your hand up, but you can also unmute yourself if you want to quickly ask a question for Andreas.
I just want to say, I was reading a lot of books as well, not necessarily about the cancer, but how to cope with trauma and to get new meaning in your life. Because once the cancer came in, a lot of meaning I had and where I found it changed. So I had to find new meaning and set new goals. And the new goals helped me also to be very positive. So yeah, I read a lot of books. I remember The Man's Search for Meaning of Viktor Frankl, that was in the Nazi concentration camp. That helped me a lot because it was all about finding new meaning in your situation where you are now. Doesn't matter how bad it is, you can find new meaning and work around that and set new goals. So that helped me a lot.
Andreas, here's a question. The question reads, I'm going to read. Andreas, how did the cancer journey affect your work? Could you continue to work, and did you have to adapt and start with something new?
I was fortunate. I could still work, and for the Bekwena Day Spa, they said I could work from home. So that helped me a lot, because what was difficult is I had to do radiation every day. And the time sometimes was not, it varied. It was not always on the same time, more or less it was. But it took a half day out of my day to get to the hospital, to do the radiation, and to come back. And yeah, so I could plan around that. So I just had to do a lot of planning and do my work in the mornings as well, because I knew from 3 o'clock, I might not have the energy anymore to work. So I had to, sometimes I got up at 5 o'clock. I usually get up at 5 and start doing some of my work. So yeah, fortunately, I could go on with working. I just need to plan very carefully and to accommodate my sessions at the hospital, as well as the tiredness that kicked in the afternoons.
Mr. Radebe, you put your hand up to ask a question. Just quickly unmute yourself as well, please. Sorry, I muted you because it made a bit of noise, but you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Andre, for the info. What I'd like to know about is that your energy levels. I heard you saying that they are okay in the morning and in the afternoon they fall. And number two, how's the sex life? Which is about the very important subject to many most people,
Yeah.
and they are afraid of asking such questions. I'm sorry
It's fine.
Yeah. That is a very, Mr. Radebe, that is a very valid question. And
yeah, it's very valid.
That's what the support group is for, to ask
Yes.
the hard questions as well. So thank you for actually asking that question.
Yeah, so about the energy levels, yeah, it dropped severely. It is this very strange feeling. You just don't have energy to keep your body straight up. So I knew I had to lie down. So I had a lot of supplements I had to take to help me and to get through that. But yeah, you have to rest. You have to listen to your body. So in the afternoons when I had that feeling or it kicked in, I would go and lie down for a while. And then I will get up, and then I will go 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I will be in bed again, and I will sleep. I will usually have a good night's rest. And then I was okay. So yeah, about the sex life. So all of the therapies for prostate cancer, there was a lot of side effects, but I think the one I was frightened the most of, and that's why I didn't want to do radiation, I didn't want chemo, I didn't want to do hormone therapy, because of all the lists of side effects, the one that stood out, it almost was like written in red, was the ED. It said ED, erectile dysfunction. So I was terrified. So that's when we said initially we're going to do the brachytherapy, that didn't really have that. There could be erection problems, but it wasn't saying erectile dysfunction like the rest of all the therapies. So that was very frightening. So in my case, when we started, that's why I asked the doctor, do I have to go on the hormone therapy? Because the hormone therapy stops your testosterone. Because the testosterone is feeding the prostate cancer. So we can't have that. But then one of the side effects, you don't have any sex libido. So you don't feel the need for it. So it was very strange for me to not have the need. And then it's usually when you go on hormone therapy, you can't get, well, they say 95% of men can't then have erections. I was fortunate I could. So the doctor was very chuffed with me when I told him he wanted to prescribe, you can get medicine. And I said, no, I don't need it. He said, really? After how many months of hormone therapy? And that was now, I think he asked that in March this year. I said, since November. He says, well, you were one of the lucky few. So I could still get erections. But then with the radiation, it started affecting me more because the where this prostate is placed is so strategic. It's just above your rectum, and then it's just beneath your bladder, and then it's just next to all the erection, the technology, if I can say that. So yeah, that started to impact me a little bit. I was lucky enough, if I can tell you, I had a 70% erection, which was still good for being on radiation so long. But then it started impacting more. But he gave me pills, which I didn't like. I remember I said to him, and it's quite funny, I need to tell you this, I sit with an oncologist just before we start the radiation on the prostate. And I said to him, do we really have to do the radiation on the prostate? And he said, why? I said, because I don't like the side effects you told me about. He said, what side effects? I said, not having a natural erection ever again after this. Because I'm sure the brachytherapy that we did will do the thing. We can just stop here. He said, Mr. Kleynhans, I'm trying to save your life, and you're thinking about sex. And I said, but I'm only 54. I have to think about it. But he said, don't worry, I'll give you pills. He said, a lot of people, even younger, are on pills. So don't worry about it. So he did prescribe me. I didn't use them yet because I'm not in a relationship at the moment. But yeah, so it does affect you, but there are ways to get through it. So luckily, there are medicines.
Of course, it's very important to note that every person's journey is different. So it's important to have a relationship with your oncologist where you can ask the right questions. And what Andreas is going through might be completely different for the next person. So I just want to make that clear that even though we talk about these things under the support group, it's still very important to go to your doctor, talk to your oncologist, and whatever side effects you have, I'm sure they can help you. That's why they are there. I want to start moving on to, let's quickly see here. Okay. There's from cancer support that came through. Sex, sexuality, and intimacy are just as important for people with cancer as they are for people who doesn't have cancer. In fact, sexuality and intimacy have been shown to help people face cancer by helping them deal with feelings and distress, and when going through treatment. But the reality is that a person's sex organs, sexual desire, sex drive, or libido, sexual function, well-being, and body image can be affected. Which is, I think, such an important comment to make for anyone that's wondering out there. Andreas, just one final question before I open up to the rest of the people to share what they're going through currently, because we've only got 15 minutes left. But what I want to find out from you is, you've mentioned a couple of things that you do to remain positive. Now, if there's one thing that you can pinpoint that has really, really helped you, what would it be? for the average person out there to also possibly do that could help them?
Yeah, for me, it's the gratitude in the morning. So I do that list. Well, I've done it for many years, but this is helping me because it's putting you in the right mindset for the day. It makes you positive. So every morning I write down 10 things, and these days very related to my cancer. 10 things, and then I say thank you. And then I'm good for the day. That start, that gratitude, that's the way for me to stay positive and stay on track. And like I said, focusing then, just be grateful for every new day that I have.
That is fantastic. Okay, I've had to unfortunately remove that you can unmute yourself because it's quite distracting with the internet issues that people we can't hear you. Okay, so please put up your hand if you wanna share your journey. I see Mr. Radebe asked to be unmuted. So please unmute yourself, Mr. Radebe, if you'd like to share.
Right. Another risk factor is alcohol, besides exercise and smoking. What is the standard alcohol limit, and are you partaking in alcohol? If you do, what's your rate in terms of drinking?
Mr. Radebe, I can actually jump in here. From the Cancer Association of South Africa, they actually promote you not to drink alcohol and also not to smoke. So it's a bit of a difficult question there because obviously both have been proven to not be good for people. Let me put it like this: it's been proven that if you don't partake in those things, it lowers your risk of cancer. And one thing that you can actually go and read up on is the Cancer Seal of Approval or recognition on their website. And they've got loads of products and stuff and loads of information on what's good to lower your risk of cancer and what you should stay away from. So it's a little bit difficult to, I think, answer that question. But I'm going to ask Gretchen, because we are open to men and women today. Gretchen, can you please unmute yourself and just answer Mr. Radebe's question from the Cancer Association side?
So, Emmanuel, good morning, everybody. Mr. Radebe, it's regarding prevention. We are not encouraging people to make use of alcohol, but there's a standard limit that we advise on. For instance, 2 glasses of wine per day is allowed, because we know that 90% of cancers are caused by environmental factors and only 10% are caused by genetics. But when you are busy with your treatment, because everything can impact on your treatment, I would advise that you check in with your oncologist or your treating doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Emmanuel?
Does that answer your question?
Emmanuel?
Yes,
can I maybe say something?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So my oncologist, because selling wine, so I love wine a lot. So that was my first question ever when he was telling me of all my oncology plan and what we're going to do. And he asked me in the end, is there any question? I said, yeah, but can I drink my wine? Okay, so he said I could. It won't affect me, but I didn't want to anymore. I went on for a while, but in the middle of the radiation somewhere, I found that after 1 glass of wine, I got terrible headaches. So I stopped it. And I didn't feel the need anymore. I think with everything that was going on in my body, I didn't feel the need, although I still like it, but I don't do it at the moment because I don't feel like it.
I think it's one of those things that from that various people will have various opinions, and I know a lot of us like to have a beer or a glass of wine around a braai. I think it also comes down to quantities of if you're going to overdo it. Anything that you're going to overdo is going to be bad. But I'm a bit wary to give that type of advice because every person's journey is different. So the most important thing would be for you to actually talk to your oncologist and doctor and find out, as per your journey, what you're going through and the type of cancer that you've got, what would be best for you and what the limitations would be.
All the literature that I read advised not to use alcohol. So I would say,
as men, it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing because you want to have a beer every now and then with dinner or when you with your friends. But it's so important. Ultimately, the end of the day, your health is what comes first. So it's vitally important to just get the right advice at the right time. Kevin, would you like to maybe share? There we go.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This has been really helpful. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes.
I was diagnosed in March with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it's been quite a battle. And thank God, thank the internet, I found CANSA, you guys. And this is, to be honest, one of the very first support groups that I've been on. So it's been quite a journey. My symptoms have been heavy. I've literally had to stop working to a degree. I can get up every now and then, but concentration, brain fog, all that stuff been crazy. It's been quite a journey, but thank you. I'm listening, I'm taking in. I am going to use these questions and these answers to the best of my ability and start working and trying to find more support in that stuff. Yes.
Kevin, if I can say something from a life coaching point of view, people always think that it's going to be fantastic. It's so easy to just be positive all the time. And one thing that I always tell people, and especially when I do life coaching and also business coaching, is I've got the Emmanuel Peterson 24-hour rule, and I actually mentioned this with every support group. And that is, we've got to remember that we are human, and what you're going through at the moment, no one should be going through, and for some reason you're going through it. So it's important to know that you are going to have bad days, and you are going to wake up some mornings feeling really terrible. And it's really important to note that you've got to feel those feelings because you are human, but try and not wallow in it for too long. So that's where my 24-hour rule came in, where after 24 hours, try and do something to make you feel better, whether it's seeing someone. I know of a lot of people that when they go through the cancer journey, they want to seclude themselves. They don't want to see other people. But it's very important that you need that support structure. So even if it's just a WhatsApp phone call, after 24 hours of feeling like that, just get yourself out of that environment and talk to someone. And the CANSA actually has a telephonic helpline. I'm going to ask Gretchen to actually share it on the chat at the moment, where if you ever need to talk, please do there. And then also we've got a WhatsApp group that we did start for the Men Supporting Men support group. And over there, you can feel free to share and ask advice and, talk to your like-minded people, because that is ultimately what's gonna make you feel better. Someone that hasn't gone through that journey will not be able to understand fully what you are going through. And that's why I think we started this support group with the help of Hollard, Daredevil Run and CANSA, is for us as men to be able to sit around a table, as per se, and talk about things. And I just want to raise my hat to you, sir, for what you're going through and for making the effort to be here today. It's called, no one's really in the mood to be online, but you are here, and I want to applaud you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, agreed with everybody here too. Thank you. Yeah, I think last little points I just want to make, then I'll cut off, is physically, I was always a physical kid, and I think that's also like agree to Andreas, healthy, young, and fit, and all that stuff. And then this just happened. So I haven't had many issues with my health, and then it hit me. Then I've started to have health problems and so on. But I'm managing those. I think it's more the mental. So that's what I'm here for. And yes, and hand in hand, that's what I'm here for. But thank you. I'll look at the sport helpline, and I'll carry on chatting. Thank you so much.
And remember, we are here once a month, every month. And please, if you're on the WhatsApp group, we'll notify you immediately. Otherwise, just go onto the CANSA Facebook page or LinkedIn page, social media, and we always advertise there when we have these events. Shahid, I see your hand is up. I'm gonna quickly ask you to unmute. There we go.
Hi, everybody. It's Shahid here, and thanks for organizing the such a wonderful session, Andreas. Fantastic, Kevin and everybody else. I think it's really great to be in this community. I just wanted to add my 2 cents, in terms of this. There are 2 books that I found very useful. One is in the library, so it's accessible there. You don't have to spend money. It's called, it's from Patrick Holford, Say No to Cancer, and it offers a lot of supplementary advice that can be used either on its own or in conjunction with other therapies. Obviously, if you want to, you are concerned, obviously speak to your doctor and oncologist and so on. But it's got a lot of tips about de-stressing and about a positive attitude and dietary advice. And then the second book that I'm using, I couldn't find it in a library, but my the homeopath that I went to see, advised me to get this book, and it is helping. It's a book which says when the body says no, the cost of hidden stress by Gabo Mate, and it is available at exclusives. It's not too expensive. So I think that that has got 7 tips in terms of being positive, being accepting of one's position, dealing with awareness, dealing with how to handle anger, and the one interesting thing about anger is not to not express your anger, is to express it, but to express it in such a way that you don't harm other people. So that takes some doing, and it's a lot of tips about how to manage your stress. So I think those were the things. I know the time is up now. I'll just end off there, but thank you so much for this. I'm really benefiting each time, and I think that it's great. It's good that you're recording, because maybe one can share the recording with other people. So yeah, really, CANSA, keep up with these type of activities. It is really making a difference. Thank you.
Shahid, thank you so much for sharing. And I actually posted it to the chat, the titles of those books. I think I made a spelling error on literature, so I'm sorry I can't go edit it, but forgive me for anyone that's like me that look at spelling. But thank you for sharing. I think it's so important. I'm a person that reads a lot of motivational books and self-help books, and that really, really helps a lot with whatever you're going through. We are unfortunately out of time, but I want to give the opportunity. I'm sure we can take another 5 minutes. Is there anyone else that would like to quickly share what they're going through? Just raise your hand, and then I can unmute you. If there is no one else, then I'll end it off. But I just want to make it clear that we want this group to grow. We want more people to get involved and share their journeys. And every single time we have a support group, we have a guest speaker. So if you feel that at some point you want to be the main speaker and you want to share your journey, please contact us at info@cansa.org.za. And then we can absolutely set it up so that you can share your journey. And then also, if you've got any suggestions for the support group, please email info@cansa.org.za and just make your subject line CANSA Men Supporting Men Support Group. And with that, I just want to take the opportunity, Andreas, thank you very much for always sharing, but for being our main speaker today. You are a true inspiration, and we've actually gotten to know you through the support group, and I, for one, feel blessed to have gotten to know you and to be motivated by you. Thank you for that.
Thank you for the opportunity. That's my calling. So to inspire people, if I can do that, I'm living that, the calling. So yeah, thank you very much for having me today.
Fantastic. Please keep an eye on CANSA's YouTube channel or the social media channels, so that you can see when we share this video, and you can feel free to share it with anyone that you think might benefit from the support group. We really, really appreciate it. Andreas, that message you just sent, you sent as a direct message.
Oh, sorry.
Just copy and paste to the whole group. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play out with a video of one of our global heroes of hope that I always find quite inspirational. And in the meantime, if you want to be part of the WhatsApp group, if you aren't already, please just post your contact details on the chat so that we can actually save it and put you onto that WhatsApp group. And with no further ado, thank you very much for being here today. And I look forward to seeing you at the next one, and hopefully hear even more positive news.
Since I was a young boy, I wanted to play rugby professionally. Sport is actually all I knew. I realized that my fitness levels were going down. I lost quite a lot of weight, got fatigued very easily. I actually thought to myself, listen, you're training very hard and it's in summertime, so the night sweats are because it's hot. The loss of weight is because you're training very hard. The tiredness was just, I thought to myself, listen, you're getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go and train, so it's probably that. The first diagnosis from a doctor was that I had asthma, but I told the doctor that I had asthma as a child, so I know it's not asthma. You try and live a healthy lifestyle, and then you get diagnosed and you think to yourself, listen, yeah, but I'm young, I'm healthy, I do everything right. I try and think about that day quite a lot. I just had a sense of calmness. I don't know, I can't explain it. As soon as he told me, listen, yeah, but you have cancer, I just felt this sense of ease that, listen, yeah, everything is going to be okay. My wife's reaction was quite emotional and shocked in the beginning. We were married for 13 months when I was diagnosed. I really relied on her through this whole process, and she was very strong. I thought to myself, and I said, listen, yeah, this is just another injury. Whatever they say, this is diagnosis, this is what the treatment plan will be, you are going to do it in half the time. I received my first chemo session on the Monday. That Thursday I was out of hospital. When I got home, my grass was long, so I mowed the lawn. The next morning I was in the gym, so I just told myself, listen, yeah, you are going to carry on as per usual. So I've been involved in 2 Relay for Lives now, and every year we're just getting stronger and stronger, and we just see the whole community coming together on an evening to just honor those that have lost the fight against cancer, or to help those that are still fighting the battle. I must say my favorite part about the relay event is just to take a moment in the evening just to go and sit somewhere. And when you just go there and you sit there and you take everything in, you realize how all of the work has been done and how everything just fell into place and just came up to be a perfect evening. My story is always the same. It's a story of motivation and hope. If you use motivation and if you have hope and you have faith, then anything is possible. I always say to people that your mind can be either your best friend or your worst enemy, because whatever you believe, that is what will happen. I actually try and just stay positive and keep a positive mind at all times, no matter what the situation is. I believe that is actually the key to success.